Welcome to the MommyZen podcast with Marianne, Clyde.
Welcome to the MommyZen podcast. I'm Marianne, Clyde, here with an affirmation for you today. That affirmation is, I have all I need within me to be a resourceful, mindful parent. And again today, I have the unique privilege of having the guest of Jody Jelas, founder of the Boom Formula. And I'm going to put her website, jodyjelas.com, underneath her name so that you can go and check her out because she is an amazing entrepreneur. She's a successful entrepreneur. Welcome, Jody.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad you're with me again today because in our last podcast, you brought up some really interesting things about now you're a single mom. You've been a single mom for how long?
8 months.
Okay. And that comes with its unique challenges that I know a lot of our viewers share. And so I wanted to talk about the principles from Peaceful Parenting, 10 Essential Principles. I want to talk about how you maintain this powerfully effective business, and you also juggle being a single parent so you don't have the benefit of having another parent there to help you out. So just tell me, what do you think is the most important thing that you keep in mind as a single parent to help you keep your sanity?
I think the first thing was when I first, for some reason, well, I didn't expect to ever be in the position of being a single mom. But when I think it started at the beginning, one of the reasons that I decided to leave my relationship with the kid's dad and actually go out and do my own thing is it was really important for me with the kids to set an example. And I wanted the kids to be surrounded by love and happiness. And in my case, that didn't necessarily mean to be under the same roof. It was, I've got a fantastic relationship with their dad and we've got separate houses and the kids feel absolutely loved. In fact, we kind of framed it in a way where the kids feel like they're almost spoiled and they've got one up on other kids because they've got two houses where they're, we've both got new partners now. So there's like an abundance of love and attention around they didn't have before.
Well, that's so important. As you had said, you and their dad have a good relationship. Such an important thing for parents to remember because I deal with parents all the time who have an adversarial relationship with their ex, and it's really detrimental to the kids. So how do you communicate with him, with their dad, in a way that's encouraging for the kids, where you communicate about their doctor's appointments, what your goals are for the kids? How do you do that? How do you communicate with him?
I mean, I'm lucky because me and the kid's dad, we'd been best friends for 15 years. So there isn't, there's been a few curly moments, but we both agreed. We both basically set some rules, and that was we would always put the kids first, and they would always be the priority. Never to argue in front of them. There was, a bit of debate there around some property, and the thing to remember is even though if you're not fighting on the phone, kids are so clever when it comes to tone.
They're smart, aren't
they? They are so smart. I don't know what happens when we become adults. We become less smart, I think. But, they pick up on that stuff. So it was a case of if we were discussing anything like that, to talk when they were never around. In fact, we went for a couple of weeks there where we were just trying to sort out property and that kind of thing, where we made a point of not actually talking on the phone at all around the kids because we knew that, we couldn't just tone that they would pick up on it.
Yeah.
But, because we've both got their best interests at heart, it was putting them first and, just above all else, we just wanted to make sure through the whole process that they felt loved and that there was no bad energy around it.
Well, it sounds like you're a big believer in respect. You respect their dad, you respect your kids, you respect yourself, and that's such a good example for your kids.
When I was reading through your book, when it came to the section on respect, the first thing that sprung to my mind was my kids about 70% of the time are best friends. In fact, last night they asked that their bedrooms be moved into, they sleep in the same room and made the other room their toy room. took them a while to get to sleep last night, but we'll just give it a week. And, you know, they get on really well. They play so well together. And this whole process has actually brought them closer together. It's been good. And it's actually both me and their dad have more quality time now with the kids than we did before, because you make a point of, when it's your time to have them, that you do make a point of doing fun things with them and, you know, really being present. But with the respect thing, the 30% of the time where they don't get on, you know, sometimes they've just had enough of each other. I'm not sure how I'm going to work this now, but I made a point of their own bedroom as their own space, and that if one of them decided they didn't want to play, or they weren't playing nicely together and they needed some space, that their bedroom was their safe place.
That's
so
a
they
wonderful
could respect
idea.
each other's time and respect each other's, you know, just go into each other's rooms and into their own room. So yeah, so I had to make that clear last night when we put the rooms together, that if anyone wanted their own space, that the toy room or the bedroom, they could go into separate rooms and respect that time. But I think with the single parenting, the part of the book that just everything in the book, everything in your book is stuff that you can apply to all areas of your life. And as I was reading it, not only is it stuff that I do with the kids, it's stuff that I apply in my business and other areas of my life as well. But with the kids, it's definitely the time chunking, definitely the being present and having that time that they know is their time. You know, like one night a week, actually the last 2 nights this week, we would go out somewhere and have a meal, and that was our special time. And that was huge for them. Last night I took them out to this pita-pit place where they have their favorite pita-pit meal, and we sat there at a table, and on the way home they were, especially Millie, she's so theatrical, this is the best night of my life. You know, she says that stuff all the time, pretty much every day.
That's awesome. She really sounds like you let her just be free and be who she is and express herself and not judge her. I love the way you let your kids be who they are. You know, and you're not judging them and telling them, oh, don't do that, or that embarrasses me, or, you know, it's they're respectful of other people because you're respectful of them, but they also know how to be exactly who they are, and I think that's really wonderful.
Just embracing their individual personalities. And they're very, what I'm very proud of is I come from a very staunch family, and they were never, and they're still not, very verbally, actually they're just not affectionate. I know they feel it, because there's been times in my life where we've sat down and we've talked about it, and how we're not really a hugging family and we don't say I love you. And when I first had my daughter, it was really important to me that we would express love for each other verbally and physically, you know, we'd cuddle each other. And so for the first 3 months of her life, I literally forced myself, when she was a newborn baby, to tell her I loved her every night before bed. And it took me 3 months before I could do it without actually crying or having such a lump in my throat that I felt sick. And now they're just such loving kids, and it's hilarious because even just last night, Dad came around to help me out, and he's leaving, and the kids are running up and giving him a hug and going, I love you, Granddad, I love you, Granddad. And I'm seeing Dad squirming in his pants. He wants to say it back, but he just can't. And it was just such an important thing that I wanted my kids to have that verbal expression of love that, although I knew it was there, I didn't actually.
But thank you for sharing that, because what comes naturally to us is maybe not what our kids need. They might need something else. And this is true in all relationships. And you knew your kids needed physical affection, and you knew your kids needed verbal affirmation of that. And so you kind of bit the bullet and did what was so not what you were familiar with, because you knew it was important to them. And that's so important, whether you're a single parent or not. That's huge, that you can even think of those things with all the stress of also being a single parent.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other part, when it comes to single parenting and running the business, you talked about breathing and just chilling out. And sometimes there's always things that need to be done in my business. And yes, I can structure my times, but I do have a bit of a habit of leaving things to the last minute. And if I go through my day and then have to pick up the kids and think, oh my goodness, I promised someone I'd do that today, I have to do it today, and I do have to take a bit of time to do it, we talked before briefly about making sure that I don't tell the kids to go away or pushing them away. And funnily enough, I got that from watching an interview when Michael J. Fox first got Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
And they interviewed him about how his relationships changed with his kids because of what he has. And he said, now when they come up to me and say, Dad, can you come and look at this? Look what I've done, show them a picture or whatever. He said he will drop everything he's doing to be present. And because I don't actually have that many hours where I'm tied to because I've leveraged my business, I have my group calls and that kind of thing, which I try not to have the kids around if I can. But if I absolutely have to do it and I can't leave my desk, then, just making a point of saying in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes, I'll be there and we'll do this, and making sure I follow through. I hate not following through.
Yeah.
I always under promise and over deliver. I won't promise anything I can't absolutely 100% do.
That's awesome. And that was a great reminder too about how important it is to be present with your kids and to make that time. And like you said, if you can't say, I will in 5 minutes or I will in 10 minutes and then actually follow through, that's a hugely important point, not just for single parents, but for all parents. So Jody, thank you so much for taking time to talk with me today. And all the way from New Zealand, I just really appreciate you're making the arrangements to do that. So thank you for being my guest. And I encourage my viewers to go to her website, jodyjelas.com, and look up the Boom Formula. I do believe there's a website for that too called theboomformula.com. And see how...
Before we go, can I just make a comment on your book?
Sure.
What I found with your book is every now and again as a parent, we doubt our parenting and you think, am I actually doing a good job? And from reading your book, it made me realize that I'm doing a far better job than I give myself credit for. And that's definitely what you want to get out of reading a book like that.
Oh,
So,
I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you that you got that out of the book too, because it sounds like you're doing an awesome job. So thank you so much. As a matter of fact, that brings me right back to the affirmation for today. And here it is. It says, I have all I need within me to be a resourceful, mindful parent. This is Marianne Clyde saying goodbye for today, but I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the MommyZen podcast. For nuggets of encouragement and strength throughout your day, follow Marianne on Twitter at mommy_zen and Facebook at facebook.com/mommyjustbreathe. Also, you can join our mailing list, leave comments, or ask questions by visiting mommy-zen.com.